timing. He's even fucking Asian, man. He's not Asian. He's 2/3 game journalist. What the hell is this shit, man? What the fuck is this? Elden Ring is supposed to be bad. We're gonna react to it. We're gonna dissect it, fellow Sigma gamers.
So
let's get started.
Playing Elden Ring, and as an avid fan,
I'm gonna pause in between to give my opinion. This will be a proper reaction.
To play this game. Unfortunately, it's been pretty disappointing so far and very lackluster.
Okay, that's what you think.
Dark Souls games pride themselves on the gameplay and the challenging gameplay and boss battles and how difficult they're supposed to be. And Elden Ring is
well
no
designed.
different. The gameplay can be extremely challenging, but not in a good way. The only reason it's challenging is
before we get going, I have like 66 hours in Elden Ring, and I'm for sure that this dude didn't even play for like 2 hours or something like that.
It's more frustrating than challenging, and that's mainly because the combat in the game is extremely unresponsive. Moving the main character around feels like moving an old man around.
What the hell?
Like every action you
what the hell are you talking about? Move your character. I press WASD to move. I play on fucking mouse and keyboard. I should be the one who is playing, but this movement is normal movement.
To do in the game
good,
has
man.
this strange 1 second delay, and every time you want to do an attack,
yeah, the input you make will be the outcome of your character. It's like moving chess pieces. Use your fucking brain.
Attack or move or roll or dodge or parry. It just feels like there's a very noticeable delay and disconnect.
Yeah, it is because of doing correct timings. If everything would be instant, it would require no skill. It would be Devil May Cry.
Between pressing the button and having the character
Devil May Cry is not bad.
Perform the movement.
So
I found the melee combat to be very unsatisfying. For example, when you're fighting against some kind of melee enemy, he's obviously...
Did you even play the other Souls game?
Winding up to hit you, and you press block thinking your character's gonna block when you press the block button.
No.
But instead there's like this weird delay and you end up getting hit in the face. You have no idea
timing, man! It's timing! He's even fucking Asian, man! He's not Asian! He's 2/3 game journalist! Fucking...
I died in the game. Not because I'm bad at the game,
bro,
but just because...
Sorry, my Filipino blood just boils, but when I get enraged, my German half comes out, and I just want to erobern, Junge.
The game is not smooth or fluid,
but
the combat is extremely frustrating. Now, I like to be mentally challenged in my video games just like any other hardcore gamer does, but when you're constantly losing in the game because of poor gameplay mechanics and poor game design, it just becomes... well, it's not fun anymore. I honestly don't feel
Bro, it's about doing it over and over again, learning the patterns, and overcoming that strong enemy. And every NPC you can beat easily. You just need to think a bit more. Think! Use the sneak maneuver. You can't fucking sneak in the game like in Assassin's Creed. You can go behind them, backstab, one shot.
I'm having fun.
Get good casual, man.
Enemies or mobs waiting around, I don't look at them with anticipation of having a fun combat exchange. I just think to myself, oh my god, I'm gonna get hit in the face again through no fault of my own. The AI in the game is also pretty bad and poor. The enemies just kind of stand around circling around you waiting for you to make a move. I found it so easy to just walk around enemies and sneak up behind them when it should have been pretty obvious that they could have seen me. So one of the things that sets Elden Ring apart from the previous Dark Souls games is the fact that it's open world. Now, I'm not really the biggest fan of open world. I feel like it's a very lazy game.
Yeah, same to me. I'm also not a big fan of open world, but since I've played Elden Ring, it completely changed my mind. I'm a big Halo fan, for example, but with open world in Halo Infinite, it was so lackluster. And when I started Elden Ring, it felt so great, man. Everywhere, it doesn't matter which direction you went, you found something.
Mechanic that game devs implement when they don't really have any other better ideas. And unfortunately, the open world in Elden Ring is just not very impressive. It looks quite pretty on a surface level, but then you realize that it's basically just a very empty and barren excuse.
It's not empty and barren. Like, have you ever played any other open world game? Have you played Assassin's Creed? I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fan. This is just a flaw of Assassin's Creed, and let's talk about it. It's open world, but you always go to the tower and do this jump into the Heuhaufen, you know what I mean? And every time it's the same thing in these open world games. Like, come on, it's a boring mechanic, but Elden Ring made it good.
Of an open world. Compared to other open world games such as The Witcher 3, which is obviously trying to rip off. You can obviously see that.
What the fuck? So Dark Souls, what the fuck is Elden Ring ripping off of Witcher 3? You're kidding me?
It's taken a lot of inspiration from games such as Witcher 3, Zelda Breath of the Wild, and I just feel like The Witcher 3 has done a better job.
Make your game open world, it's automatically a rip-off of the other game, which is also open world.
That's being a pretty dark RPG kind of fantasy adventure game.
He's mentally ill.
Elden Ring can ever hope to be.
Are you held hostage? I can help you, man.
Ring is the fact that the story is very lackluster.
Where's the gun?
This is very disappointing when you consider the fact that they got George R.R. Martin, the author behind Game of Thrones, to come up with the story of Elden Ring. You'd think that he would be able to make something that's really interesting. Unfortunately,
okay, let's see.
It just feels like a rip-off clone of Lord of the Rings.
Just because it's called Elden Ring, you think this one Lord of the Rings? I'm fucking kidding. He doesn't know jack shit. Have you ever heard the cutscenes? Have you ever talked to the characters? It's so well made. It's 10 times better when in like Dark Souls 3 and 2. I know the story of Dark Souls 3 and 2 is pretty vague, and in Elden Ring it's still a bit vague, but you understand much more of the world. You know what that something is going on. You know, I don't want to spoil it, man, but if you just listen to the characters, you get a good story. If you proceed this questline, there was one questline in the south with one girl and her father who's protecting a castle. You need to get him a letter and you go back and something miserable awaits you. That was sad, man. Yeah, and when you encounter this dude later on, her father, like, because of that bad thing that happened, which I can't spoil.
For example, in The Witcher 3, I felt really interested in the story and the characters, and that made the open world and
imagine Witcher 3 had the best story in the world. Yeah, you know what? Also, Witcher 3 had a fucking story about a fucking pen, a shiny pen,
and the scenes and the different towns. And
it's still a great game, though. But I don't like comparing these two games. They are like different things. It has a completely different feeling to it. Witcher 3 is more like complete story immersion. If you are more into that, just say it.
Just more interesting to be able to explore and find out about. I can't really say the same.
Bro, in Witcher 3 you just spam left click and right click, like, and using some OP potion combinations, you know that. It doesn't matter which difficulty. I've tried that shit.
Ring, the main character doesn't even talk. He has no personality. And I honestly didn't...
It is because you self-insert to that character. Because that's your character and how you perceive this world. You can go off, talk to characters, help them out, or you can be a completely maniac and just kill them all for their souls and ashes of war and stuff like that. Or for the armor.
I feel like I cared.
It's your decision.
To find out about the world.
It's like roleplay and MMORPGs, man.
What's going on? I just feel like they did a very bad job at hooking the player in to be interested in the story. It shouldn't be my job as the player to want to become interested. It should be the job of the script writers to make me interested straight from the beginning.
Yeah, it makes you instantly interested when you walk out of the store and see the open world. You talk with like your first character that was in front. He says, yeah, you are going to die and stuff like that. It already is a miserable world and you're just exploring this vast emptiness. This vast, how should I call it? Vast world of dungeons and stuff like that.
Beginning. Now,
encountering these NPCs randomly. Yeah, I love it.
There are many bosses. There's mini bosses and there's bigger bosses. And just like how frustrating it is fighting the regular mobs, fighting these bosses is even more frustrating and annoying, mainly because of the size. Because of just how much bigger...
Yeah, the camera's kinda annoying and janky, but you can get used to it.
These bosses are than you. The camera just kind of goes crazy and starts spinning and flipping everywhere. And and you're frantically trying to dodge and roll out of the way of the boss's attacks.
Okay, now you are just bad if you are rolling with bad timing.
I got stuck in the scenery, or I got stuck in some
Don't get stuck in the scenery.
corner
That's
of
it.
the wall.
Don't
and
fight
the
them
characters
in
just
these
didn't really do a
places.
very good job
You
at
can
tracking
lure them out, for
Fighting
example.
these bosses is already frustrating enough because you need to memorize the attack patterns. Otherwise, you're just not going to stand a chance. You can only take a couple of hits before you get taken out by one of these bosses, and then you have to start the boss battle all the way from the beginning, which can be very annoying. And the only way to learn each boss's attack patterns is by repeatedly dying over and over again, until you finally memorize how the boss is going to act and behave and move.
Yeah, learn the fucking boss. You die, maybe you don't die. Just learn the moveset of the boss. You can see this attack, he's doing a follow-up. So don't roll into that shit, or don't attack him at this moment because he's doing like 5 attacks in a row. You need to get used to it. You need to fucking get good. Or farm some OP weapon and one-shot that boss. This game is not hard. You can make it hard. You can make it easy as well.
And I don't know about
It depends
you, but I
on
find this gameplay
how you wanna play
mechanics
it.
to be extremely frustrating. I don't really enjoy dying hundreds of times against one boss. I just want to attack it and maybe have a bit of a challenge, but I don't really want to have to...
Then don't play this game. Then this game is totally not appealing to you. But I've seen your reviews, man, on the other games. I think you are just a fucking cloud chaser.
stuck on the same
He
boss
wants
and
the
try to memorize every
attention
single
of
thing he's
the
gonna do. I
masters,
do not
man.
find this kind of gameplay to be enjoyable at all. Now, this wouldn't really be a problem if they had different difficulty modes. There's no easy mode, there's no medium mode, there's no hard mode. You just get one mode, and that is like the default mode. There's no option to make things easy.
This is the great thing about this game. It is because it has no difficulty, which every game should have. Most of the games, some of them need a difficulty setting, but this is the great thing. It's the same difficulty for every person.
Easier. And as someone who gets really frustrated easily and gives up easily when things are too difficult, I just found myself not really
Yeah,
wanting
when you are just weak, you are not Asian enough.
to play the game anymore because I was going to break
Did you eat enough rice, man? We need like... You need to eat enough, man.
something. I just found the gameplay and the combat to be very disappointing and a massive letdown compared to games like Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and The Witcher 3, which
damn, I'm
I feel like
sweating.
they do a much better
Because I'm so
job
aggressive.
at the whole third-person
Sorry.
action, multiple enemy
Too emotional
combat
right now.
style. Now, when it comes to traversing the open world, you have two main options of transport. You have a mount,
Yeah.
and you have a teleportation
Yes.
system, which is very stereotypical of open world games, not very unique or original. And as an advocate of originality, I just
Witcher
don't
3?
really see much originality in Elden Ring. I found myself just running through most of the open world in order to get from point A to point B, mainly because I just had no incentive or interest in exploring this very barren and dull open
Wow! Everywhere you look, it's fucking beautiful, man. There's a fucking swamp with like 10 dragons in it. Of course I wanna go there and explore that shit. Try to sneak up on them, try to steal the items. Like, for example, in the northwest of Elden Ring, on the map, there's a dragon, a crystal dragon, who shoots out magic stuff, you know? Too strong for me right now. He had an interesting item behind it. It was a key to open the dungeon, and I just stole the key and ran the fuck out of there. Like that was the first thing I did. Like if you don't wanna encounter that boss right now or fight him right now, just do something else. Explore the world. Beat
world.
lesser enemies.
And when I got
Get
the
better, level
teleportation
up,
stuff
be
unlocked,
stronger,
I just
fight the dragon and
zipped
slay it.
all over the place.
Because if
So
you can just slay everything in just a few minutes with a bit of challenging, getting 2 hits and destroy them easily, this game would not be fun. It would be garbage. Like for example, I play it solo and I play it with some friends, like 2 of them. We play as a free team, trio squad, and we do bosses. There are some bosses which are completely difficult, which are still difficult, even though we are so many people, because they focus change each time and it's pretty random and intense, and that's what I like. But there are still some bosses which are completely getting staggered to death. I don't want that. I want them to raise the difficulty for multiple people. I would love that.
But it kind of felt like
Like, if you are like with 3 persons, you can't stagger the boss. And yeah, for example, it was the Moon Witch in the northwest of the map, and she wasn't that strong as a free power with 3 people. It was pretty easy, but when I did it alone, I was so frustrated. She was spawning dragons, wolves. I don't want to spoil too much.
pointless, so there was this open world there. As for the graphics of the game, I wasn't really impressed, and they weren't really up to my standards. The graphical fidelity of the game reminds me of games from 2015 or 16 at the latest. The graphics are just not very impressive, the textures are kind of poor and low quality. There's just something about the game's graphics that don't...
What are you playing for games? Are you playing ultra high-res RTX on games only? What the hell is wrong with you? This game looks beautiful, man. What for high standards do you have? Not everyone can afford that shit, man.
feeling or look. It just doesn't really have the shine of certain modern AAA games of 2022.
Modern AAA games? Like generic Battlefield? 69, I don't know what it's called, 42. Shit game it was, indeed.
Than 2021. The character models and animations are also fairly
Insanity.
and I didn't really think that
Just insane.
it was a very good looking game in general. And I honestly don't know why there's so much hype around this game. It doesn't really look that much different to previous Dark Souls games. apart from the fact that it has an open world now, and in this day and age I don't really think anyone is surprised or impressed by an open world. It's just so bog standard to have open worlds in almost every single type of game now. Even racing games have open worlds these days. So unfortunately I won't be able to give this
What
game
is
a
wrong
very
with
good
you, man?
score. I just didn't really feel like I had fun.
There's no
playing
game in the
game.
world
I
which
didn't
can
really
please
feel
you
like I
except
wanted to
Witcher
get back into
What?
the game
And
because it was
just
just
play
so
Witcher 3, you
frustrating
bad
and
reader.
annoying. So I'll have to give the game a 4.2 out of 10. Not great, not impressive. I just can't help but feel a bit disappointed.
See this? You can't see me go, God, what is this?
Not great, not
4.2.
impressive. I just can't help but feel a bit disappointed, especially after all of this hype that's been going around.
I can't take this seriously anymore. Thanks for watching. Did you also hate Elden Ring? Fuck this shit, man. I can't believe. What happened in your life? What happened? What went wrong with your fucking life, man? I'm just... This is emotional damage. There are only a few ways you can hurt me that way. And this is one of them. Oh. What the... This is why I lost hope in humanity. People like this. Fucking hell. He's probably American, no? He looks so privileged. He looks like he never worked in his life. Never did something. Jesus Christ, man. I'm not religious, but I just always say like Sus, Jesus Christ, and shit like that because I did so in the past and it just sticks with me. Like, bro, this shit gets me fanatical. Thank you for watching. I'm just sitting here. Okay, you can turn off, you can watch another video of mine. Subscribe if you want to see more reaction shit. I do also Elden Ring guides to make it easier for ya. You're too bad at this game. Fucking hell. Shit. This is some intense shit. Bro. Bro. The only thing I can blame Elden Ring for right now is server connection issues. Fucking PvP doesn't work. I love PvP. It doesn't work at all. And yeah, you can't play co-op well because server issues and stuff like that. But that shit which gets resolved. I personally give it a 9.5. And the 0.5 are just deducted because of these issues. Some mechanics which are a bit annoying. But yeah, no game can't be perfect in my opinion. But Elden Ring in the moment has the best points in my opinion. Yeah, it is the best game right now. Like, damn. See you next time. Wave out.